Okay, so I've been cramming all day to get a little bit of information on hydraulic fracturing, aka fracking. Um, Fracking has been going on for a really long time. I think like 1908 is when it started. Um, but hydraulic fracking with horizontal drilling is what really has been an issue lately. They the companies that are doing this are trying to make it seem more eco-friendly than oil, but it is eco-friendly in the sense that it is economically friendly, not ecologically friendly. Um, yes, burning it might be less harmful than burning coal on like a long scale of time, but the drilling of it and the creating of the drill, like the wells for it, is more damaging. Um, what they do is they drill down about 8,000 feet, and then they start bringing it down and then horizontally drilling. And they pump a lot of pressurized water, which normally comes from, well, always comes from water nearby, which could be lakes, um, people's wells, and they pressurize it and put chemicals in it and sand in it, and they pressurize it and put it down there. After exploding cement that's at the end of the well, and it creates those cracks, and they pump it down there, and the sand in the water gets stuck in those cracks and holds open those cracks, and then the gas is pumped out. But the water, with all of those toxins and chemicals that they're using, actually goes up into their water waste, which is in its own well, and then it goes back down into the ground again. And that is actually a cited cause for earthquakes because that water destabilizes the natural cracks in the rock formation. And I think Ohio in 2011, I've got to check the date, but it had at least 12 earthquakes in this area, and it was right next to some hydraulic fracking areas. It is a cited cause for earthquakes, so it's not like someone's just saying, "Oh, it might be because of hydraulic fracking." It is because of the water that they dump, the water waste, and also in areas. Sorry, I've been cramming. My brain's a little bit fried. Also, the fact that they are using those chemicals, and if it is seeping back down into the ground, it's in the ground. It passes up through the water with the chemicals that they're using passes back up through the tube that they drilled, and they do have a cement wall of sorts. It's like a cement tube going through the aquifer. But as with anything that we humans do, it could be done improperly, and that could contaminate the water. Um, I know there are a lot of instances that the people in the nearby farms have gotten really dirty water. It has a smell to it. A lot of people have suffered neurological damage. Like one family that tried to sue. I don't know if they actually got it. Probably not because I've been reading like 10 to 20 different things today. Um, but what's I really wanted to touch on it. The history of fracking. Well, actually, the EPA, they've tried to get this more regulated and controlled, and so the companies have to tell you what chemicals they're using. But of course, in July of 2005, Congress passed the Safe Drinking Water Act, the thing I was just telling you about. Or wait, no, it was the Natural Energy Policy Act of 2005. It was signed in August by President Bush, um, and it never intended. It includes a provision codifying that Congress never intended for hydraulic fracturing to be regulated under the Safe Drinking Water Act. But again, they retract the EPA's authority over fracking operations. But they say that fracking is exempt from the Safe Drinking Water Act. So they don't have to listen to the rules included in the Safe Drinking Water Act. So they're pumping all of these chemicals in the water that they're using to get the gas out, but they don't have to tell you what it is, and they don't have to limit their use of these chemicals, even though they may be harmful, because they say, hey, it's not affecting our drinking water. But a lot of different farmers and landowners have been affected by this drinking water, and in certain instances, the officials have just said, oh, we'll just buy bottled water, and they have to buy this bottled water, otherwise they're going to get gross, contaminated water, in some cases, even flammable water, because there's so much methane in the water. There are a lot of instances also that the water that is in the ground seeps up, and then the ground is soggy with this contaminated water, the wastewater from the fracking, and it affects people's crops and their livestock. I read one thing that I have provided some links of the things that I've read today. There was a family and their cattle had drank the water that seeped up through the ground. So they quarantined it and everything, and in the next year, the cattle started to die, and the ones that were alive and maybe had gotten pregnant, the number of stillbirths was increasing a lot. And even they had to go get bottled water, as said by the officials, until the testing for their water came up safe. So if this is the case for fracking near homes, and it's noted that these things have happened. I actually saw a video of a guy that was at a rally for anti-fracking, but he told his story of the passing of his wife to lung cancer. And air pollutants are also a thing because the gas could escape from the area that they're trying to collect it. So there are these toxic gases that are really, really contaminating the air, and people are breathing it in unknowingly. And this lady got lung cancer, and he went to go ask one of the people in the fracking company, are you going to keep doing this even though it's harmful? My wife is in the hospital. And then also, are there anything saying that this is okay for it to be near us? And the representative said, we don't answer questions, we only take comments. And then a week before the rally, that man's wife died from the lung cancer. His first wife had also died, and they lived in that area. So that really touched me. It really sucked, because if that's one person, then it's probably happened to a lot of people. Maybe not specifically lung cancer, but maybe other types of disease coming from drinking this contaminated water or from breathing in the contaminated air. I know a home exploded in Ohio, and because gas leaked into their home. That's pretty extreme. So at what cost? It might burn cleaner compared to coal, but we are damaging it. It's saving these companies money, but it's damaging our ecosystem. It's not good, and it's killing people, for making people sick. It's not worth it. I don't see why we can't. Well, I do see why. It's too easy to get it for free. Solar power and wind power. Of course, they don't want us to have free energy. It needs to be a way to make money, and that really sucks. But I'm going to, as soon as I don't have my own home yet, but I know my apartment complex has solar paneling, and that's pretty awesome. So do your research on hydraulic fracturing and horizontal drilling, because it's not just the fracking, because fracking has been going on for a really long time. In the last 50 years is when it's been industrialized by Halliburton, and it's on a disgusting level. There's a video that I linked. It's an aerial view of the areas in Pennsylvania that have a whole bunch of It's one of the biggest shales around, and it goes up into upstate New York. And there's a guy that owns a winery, and he owns this helicopter, and he's like, I'm gonna show you guys. So I urge you to check that out. Because I know natural gases sounds like it's a really good thing, but it's not as good as you think, and we should really stop sucking the earth dry of everything it's got, especially considering it does cause earthquakes. It's there's the pumping of their wastewater definitely causes earthquakes. Um, yeah, so get informed, guys. I've been getting informed all day, and you might want to do it in a little bit of smaller doses than I did because it. But I don't know. Do it at your own pace. Don't burn yourself out. Definitely try to absorb all of this information. Um, some of the videos are really, really upsetting. Actually, most of the videos are really upsetting. I really want this world to be okay. So, if we could get as many people to call our representatives, um, make sure that it can get banned, because in a lot of states it's been banned already. A lot of cities it's been banned. No fracking in city limits. That's good. That's a good start. So call your representative, call any politicians near you. Your voice can be heard. A lot of people think that they won't be heard, but if you voice your opinion, maybe write a letter, that's all a step in the right direction. So start walking.